All right, welcome everybody to my webinar. I'm Beth Yarzab from Career Fit Mom, and today's topic is defeating overwhelm to enhance your career and fit life. And I'm so grateful that you're here with me today. You are in the right place if you are a mom or a woman who is busy and feeling overwhelmed. I think that's every one of us these days. If you know that there's got to be more to life than your current experience, and if you want to accomplish more in less time. So I'm really excited to share with you tons of resources, tips, and tools, and it's going to be workshop-y, so please make sure you have a pen and something to write on to take notes. At the end of this webinar, I am going to send you the recording so you can access the slides after. And I'm also going to send you a gift, which is my time blocking worksheet, which has some special questions to kind of dig a little bit deeper about what's important to you and how to actually fit everything into your calendar on a weekly basis. So I'm going to be sending that to you via email after. So here's what we're going to learn today. We're going to talk about prioritizing your time based on your values. We're going to learn to reduce low leverage activities. So I'm going to explain what those are and then help you identify what those are for you. And I want to set mini goals in key areas of your life, but not to create more work for you, more to create an inspired life of taking action to what is really important to you and then getting rid of the things that are those low leverage activities that aren't really helping you move towards those things that are important day to day and week to week and year to year in your inspired life. And then lastly, we're going to learn to time block. And I have to say, this has been transformational for me and so many of my clients. So I'm really excited to dig a little bit deeper into the time blocking stuff with you today and leave you with lots of ideas of how to make that work for you. Okay, so who am I? I'm a mom of twin girls. They're almost 13 years old. I've been married to my best friend for 18 years. I was born and raised in Thunder Bay, and then I lived in Toronto, Ontario for about 15 years. And about 2 years ago, I moved to a small town north of the city called Uxbridge, and we just absolutely love it here. I have a portfolio career. So in career development, a portfolio career is considered one where there's multiple lines of business or revenue lines coming into my annual salary. And it's you know, sometimes when you're an entrepreneur, you can make that work for yourself. Sometimes you might have contract work and part-time work and your own side hustle, and that kind of makes up your portfolio. Everything I do in my portfolio is related to career development, fitness, and personal growth. And those really are my passion areas. So some of the things that bring in income for me, just so you have a kind of a better picture of who I am, I used to have for 10 years a group fitness business in Toronto, which I have transitioned out of and transitioned into an online fitness service called Vitality Practice, which I'm absolutely loving. So I have that. I also do personal branding for people. So I write resumes and LinkedIn and cover letters, and I help with career transition coaching. I do recruiting. That was my background. So before I had my little girls, I was in executive search and I was in human resources, corporate HR. And so I use a lot of those tools now as I contract for small companies and with other recruiting agencies to help them search for candidates for great employers. I'm also in a direct sales business. I am a CamFit Pro fitness instructor, pro trainer, meaning I teach other people to become group fitness instructors and certify them, which is super fun. I'm also a partner in a women's retreat business called Extend and Elevate with my very good friend, Julie. And so we run a couple times a year women's retreats outside the city, and then inside of Toronto we do sort of one-day kind of connection events, which we love doing. And I also consult to private career counseling firms and government agencies, so I have a lot of stuff going. I am a busy working mom, as many of you are, and I attract women who are like that, who have lots of goals, lots of demands, and really see that they're into growth for themselves, that they want to expand and live life to the fullest and experience life to the fullest. And really, I mean, who am I? I started my business from this place. So this is me 10 years ago with my daughters. I was a stay-at-home mom for a couple of years, and I was really focused on my two little ones, with really no time for myself. And I had this kind of glimmer of like hope that there would be something else that I could do, something where I could really bridge my skills and passion and experience in a way that could help other people, in a way that would enhance the well-being of my family, and that we could do it in the parameters that I set that would work the best for me and for my family. And I'm very, very fortunate because it's manifested so nicely. I have a lot of freedom in the way I work now. And I know that's not true for everybody who works corporate, but certainly I've worked with many people who do work in corporate who have created their own career, who create the flexibility that they want. I know it is possible. We get to travel. I get to work. I have sort of a location independent business now. So was coaching people all summer from different places in Western Canada. I can be with my kids and I can engage in my community. So all of these things are important to me and to my family. And this is us now. Most recently, we were in Jasper, Alberta this summer, very fortunate to have traveled there. And that's us in the mountains. So just a little kind of glimpse into who we are and who I am. And this is me. I'm also a cat lady. So my cat keeps showing up in the fitness videos that I film for Vitality Practice, my online fitness service. So I have to have a picture of the cat on my webinar too. This is Smokey. Primarily now my time is spent in career development work with my clients and fitness coaching. I've worked with hundreds of moms to reframe their to-do list into actionable results. Like a more fulfilling, better paying, more flexible career, a rewarding career, and also with better feeling bodies, healthier bodies on their terms, whatever that means for them. And along the way, I've really started to see over these last 10 years that I can give people all the tactics in the world, like do this, step 1, step 2. If you want to create a new career, I can tell you exactly how we can reposition you on your resume, how we can use LinkedIn to leverage your network, how to get out there and what your elevator pitch should be to be resonating with people. I can tell you all those steps, but until you use the mindset strategies to create that vision for yourself and absolutely believe that it is possible, then you're not going to achieve the career switch that you want. And the same thing goes with your health and your active lifestyle and how you see yourself in your body, which is really just the physical extension, the vessel of your beautiful spirit. And so until you really love your body and yourself, everything is just going to sort of stay the same and the old habitual behaviors remain. So I started getting into mindset work with my coaching clients, and we saw tremendous results because people start to use visualization techniques and journaling techniques and different worksheets and tactics that I have to reframe how they see themselves. So getting down to the identity level of who you are and being the person who does the things that gets the results that you want. So seeing in yourself that new career and actually knowing that you are worthy and deserving of it, and then starting to take those inspired actions, doing the tactics because you are the person who already has that job that you really, really want. And the same thing goes with your health, absolutely. So it's getting down to the identity level with folks. And when I started doing that kind of work with people, everything really shifted for my clients, and they saw some tremendous results. So for example, last year I had a client who she just couldn't make time for exercise. So, we are all busy, but obviously health was important to her. But she was feeling like she couldn't fit it into her everyday life. And she was also feeling in her body just like it was physically challenging to do some daily life activities, which was not great. She was dissatisfied with her physical appearance. And then she had also a lot of guilt about not wanting to work out. Like it's like one of those should, and we should just all stop shoulding on ourselves. So, I could just give her a workout program. I got plenty of those. but she wouldn't be able to make that difference long term until she actually, at the identity level, saw herself as the person who is physically active and enjoys it and has an active lifestyle. So once we started kind of reframing and reworking who she is at the identity level, she was able to easily fit in the exercise time that she wanted. Not perfect. It's not every day that, she may make a plan some days and this just doesn't happen. But on those days, she takes the stairs at work more often. She'll take a quick walk around the block after dinner. Like, she'll just find little things because that's who she is now. So much of what we're going to talk about, and just, even more broadly than just time management, is what is your goal? And do you actually believe that you are the person who can have that goal accomplished and see it as it already is done in your possession? Because when you believe and you really start to see yourself at that identity level as someone who has that goal achieved, it doesn't take time at all to actually achieve it, because it's so easy and joyful and effortless to actually do those activities that will lead to success. All right, so we're going to talk today about tasks versus results. Who here has so many tasks on our to-do list? We live by our to-do lists in today's society, and saying that you're busy in North American society does have some connotations of, there's value to being busy, but it's a very messed up concept that is in our society. Like, you are valuable for who you are and how you express yourself. You don't have to do anything, yet we have these overwhelming tasks that we must complete. We feel we must complete. And when we don't, because it's impossible to get through that whole to-do list, we might feel unsatisfied, frustrated, unfulfilled, like we're not doing enough, like we're not productive enough. And it's so much busy work all the time, busy work. And it's hard to get ahead on even seeing what the big goal is or what the big project could be, and how you could finally truly find productivity. So today I want to reframe all of your to-dos into intentions to create more satisfaction and more well-being into our lives. I hope that sounds good to you. So studies actually show that when we pursue happiness, we're more likely to be successful. And many people believe that in order to be happy, they have to find success first. So we want to actually flip that. I want you first to get into the first kind of writing activity of today's workshop. So grab your pen. And I first want you to really identify, what brings you joy in life, so we can focus on happiness and we can focus on positivity first, and be making sure that all of our tasks are aligned with that happiness and the things that bring you joy. So go ahead and write down a couple things that come to mind right now that are things in your life that bring you the most joy. So for me, it is my family. It is the opportunity to grow and learn. I love to travel. That's really important to me. Time with my mom is important to me. Contributing to my community, serving others in capacity as, the entrepreneur that I am and doing the coaching that I do, or serving others just as a volunteer or in my community. So I want you to just write down what resonates for you right now, the things that bring you joy, and hopefully it's not too hard to identify a few of those. And then I also want you to write down next what you consider to be your most purposeful activities. So week to week, what is your most purposeful, most important activities? So, and this is different for everyone, okay? So no judgment at all about what you're writing down. So it might be your work, your profession, that you feel there's a lot of purpose to the work that you're doing. And I do hope that for you. I want that for you, because so many of us in our careers, we do have a strong sense of identity based on the work that we do for our income, for our salary. So that should be purposeful for you. And I really hope that it is, because it does, again, bring more positivity and happiness and joy to your life. So what else is purposeful for you? It could be spending time with your kids, being able to be there to put them down to bed, walking them to school in the morning. Something else purposeful might be a charity that you contribute financially too, or with your time. It could be extended family. Like my relationship with my mom is really purposeful. She's 70 years old, and we like to travel together and spend time together. So that's super purposeful activity for me. So go ahead and write down a couple of those, and even write down the questions so you can come back to this later as we kind of zoom through a lot of the content in today's workshop. And then I want you to write down now your top 3 values. And this may be easy for you, this may be hard. Really looking at what your top values are, sort of like the reasons, what you bring to everything that you do and who you are. When you can identify what those are for you, it's much easier to make decisions that light you up, that are leading you to that purposeful vision and purposeful life that you crave. So for me, my top values are community. So my community of career fit moms that I work with. Certainly some of you have participated in my group fitness classes years ago, and you could probably sense that was really important to me, is to create that community. And I'm creating that now online with my online service, the coaching that I do, the community of practice that I'm in with other coaches and other career counselors and other fitness professionals. All of that kind of community is super important to me, as well as in my hometown, my town here of Uxbridge, where I'm participating in volunteer work with Girl Guides of Canada for my daughter, and I'm now involved in my other daughter's Ukrainian dancing. More importantly, it's just that feeling of community. So that's one of my top values. Another one is connection. I love to connect people to other people, to resources, to opportunities. I think that's why I love recruiting so much, because if I can present you with a job opportunity that would be just exactly what you're looking for to get you to that next level, while also fulfilling the employer's need for your talent, like what an amazing opportunity and gift that is to everyone involved. So I love just like the feeling of connection. I think that's why I just love recruiting, and that's where I started my career very early on, and I still do some of that today. So connecting people to new ideas, people to people. Like I've had so many career coaching clients that they want to pursue a new career path. They're completely reinventing themselves. And I love connecting them to someone in my network who maybe works in that job function or sector because of what they can learn. And I've been so fortunate to be able to connect people that have actually found jobs that way through those interesting introductions that I can make for people. So I'm definitely a connector, and that's one of my values. And then the third value for me is commitment. And they're all C's: community, connection, commitment. And commitment is important to me. And it's something that I have to constantly be aware of and work on, because I'll say that I'm going to do something, and it's much easier to say you're going to do something for somebody else. But when I say I'm going to do something for myself, like I'm going to commit to, a morning stretching routine every day. And right now I'm committing to doing a morning reading with another accountability partner, where we read about, goal setting and abundance and those sorts of things in a motivational book. And we get up and we get on the phone with each other and we read aloud to each other every morning at 6 a.m. And I want to show up for those things, not just for, my accountability partner, but for myself. Because when I make that commitment to myself, and then I do the things that I said I was going to do, that I put in my calendar, man, I get some amazing results, and just things are flowing. So commitment is another one of my values. I want to commit to others and to myself. So identifying, hopefully that helps give you some ideas of what, your purposeful activities, your values, and the things that bring you joy are. And I really want you to anchor into those ideas, because as you decide on how you're going to block out your time, really the majority of those tasks and the time blocking themes that you have, we want to make sure they're aligned with these ideas of what's important to you, your purpose, your value, the things that bring you joy, and really lock into those to align those items and themes to your time blocking. So think about your to-do list going forward and make sure the majority of those items on your task list are aligned with these happy thoughts. You'll feel better. You'll have way better results, my friends. Okay, let's move on to low leverage activities. So low leverage activities are things like wasted meetings. Have you been invited to meetings where you're sitting there going, what am I doing here? How can I even contribute to this? I am not supposed to be at this meeting. And you have like this huge to-do list thinking, and that's all you can think about, right? Is the anxiety that creates. So a low leverage activity is a wasted meeting when you're not delegating effectively, taking on things that others can and should do. So, for me, my kids are almost 13, definitely passing on stuff that they can do around the house, and they do make their own lunches. They've done that for a number of years now. Is their lunch super healthy? No, sometimes I'm pretty sure they just bring granola bars for school lunch. But you know what? We're going to sandwich that granola bar lunch with a healthy breakfast and a healthy dinner, and they're thriving. So, I just can't control every little thing. So I have to pass on some things that others can and should really do. And then those activities that don't lead to goals. So maybe social media scrolling. I mean, we've all been guilty of that. And there's other things that happen day to day that kind of come into our schedule that really aren't effective use of our time. And I learned about this concept from a consultant named Tony Giri, and he calls himself the results guy, and I really like him. And he's the one who kind of came up with this low leverage activity concept, and the idea that it actually burns up 15 to 20 hours of your week. And I mean, what would you do if you had that time back? Imagine what you could accomplish, or imagine the people that you could spend time with, or the professional development you could do, or how you could get ahead in your career change, or possibly, train for that half marathon, or whatever it is that you're like, I'd really want to do this. And you have this time because you're not sitting in a wasted meeting, for example. So take a moment right now just to jot down what you think might be your low leverage activities. And it's not to say that you can eliminate them right away, but awareness is the first step, my friends, to kicking these low leverage activities to the curb. So I'll give you just a moment to jot down some ideas of what your low leverage activity might be, okay? Okay, so we're actually going to move away from low leverage stuff into what really matters. And for most people, I mean, these are initial ideas of what could be important to you. It's not true for everyone, and they're in no particular order of priority. But I would like to create some mini goals for you now, and I want you to be able to jot these down. Well, you're going to create the goals for yourself, but I'm going to kind of coach you to that point. Again, not to create more work for you, not to create more things to your to-do list, but just to identify what's really important to you. Again, aligning with your joyful activities, aligning with your purpose and your values, and finding something that, when you can move this thing ahead, if it's been kind of nagging at you for a while and you'd really love to do it. It might enhance a relationship for you. It might enhance your health. You might enhance a working situation, something in your career, and all of these things are good for your own expansion and leveling up. Okay, so these are going to be small, okay? You don't have to do a lot of work in these little mini goals. But I do want you to commit to doing these things over the next month. Again, so just writing them down makes a big difference. When you actually put pen to paper, you're going to ingrain it into your subconscious, which is where 90% of your results come from. So it's actually that identity. You are the person who is going to create momentum in these key areas in your life. And in a month, you're going to see transformation huge just by taking these little steps. And then you're going to see how they build upon each other. Okay, so your well-being. You know that if you're not living at your healthiest, you really cannot be there for your family. You can't perform well at work. You can't serve others in your community. So I want you to think about and write down one thing that you can contribute to your well-being this month. So it might be taking a walk after dinner 1 day a week. It might be making that appointment to get your pap smear and your physical. That was my client's last month. She's like, I just need to get that appointment set. So it's in my calendar. And sometimes those appointments are the last thing to become the priority when everybody else's appointments come first, right? So maybe it is researching a new healthy recipe that you want to bring to your family dinner. Maybe it's just having a family dinner. That was something that our family had to work on number of years ago, because I was working a lot at night, just, with, trying to see clients, and I was with my daughters during the day. So at night, my husband would come home and he could be the caretaker or caregiver to the children. So I'd be out working at night. And I just was starting to notice, like, they were growing up and we weren't sitting around the table together. And so over time, we've definitely improved that. And most nights of the week now, I'm very fortunate that we can sit around. And sometimes it's fast because we got to get to an activity, but we do have those regular touch points. So just thinking about something that will contribute to your well-being, and just write that little mini goal down, but don't make it too huge. Just something really simple that you can action this month. And let's move on to your family. So, in your family, it's all about caring and nurturing and setting up your loved ones for success and growing important relationships to you. So last month, one of my group coaching members, her mini goal in this area with family was to reach out to her brother 1 to 2 times a month, just to create even like just a text message exchange with him, or a phone call, or if they could schedule a coffee or a dinner, then to do that, because she wanted to build her relationship with her brother. And she was able to easily do that. Like, it's just setting the intention, and then 5 minutes and she's got the dinner date booked, or the phone call booked, or whatever. And she felt really good about keeping that going. So she did it the first month, and now she's going to continue to make that. They've committed to each other to make that their regular. So write down one family result you'd like to see. And maybe it's, again, a relationship that you want to improve, or there's something that your child is struggling with at school and you want to research how to get him some extra help. And that's just a little bit of extra time that you got to make sure that you put into your schedule this month, to make sure it gets done, but knowing that you are the person who's going to make that happen because your family is important to you. Oh, I missed the other goals. Let's keep going through those. Okay, so job or your career. Really thinking about, for this one, how you want to feel at work on the daily. You want to probably feel fulfilled, not stressed, or limited stress. A little bit of stress is good. It's okay. It helps you perform. You want to think about one thing you can do this month at work that will make you feel awesome. And that might not be the big job change or the salary negotiation. Like, it doesn't have to be the big thing, but it could be the small thing that triggers the big thing in just a month or two. Okay, so one of the easiest ways to raise your own level of happiness and positive vibration is to recognize and help somebody else. So an easy thing to do at work, in your career, that will elevate you and elevate somebody else, is recognition. And so you don't have to be a leader necessarily to do this. It could be recognizing a colleague, especially in front of the senior executive team or leadership. It could be recognizing a leader for being a great leader. It could be recognizing someone who contributed to a project that you're on, another colleague. Could be any kind of recognition that you could give somebody else, and that takes 5 minutes. It takes 2 minutes to think of somebody and 3 minutes to do it. So you know that you will benefit from the feelings of well-being and growth, because you've taken the time to recognize somebody else. So maybe that's the simple thing that you can do in your career. You can do that on LinkedIn so easily, and it creates a lot of social capital for you too. If you go to LinkedIn and randomly do a recommendation for somebody in your network, and it should be heartfelt, and it should be, like, you have to have some kind of working relationship with that person so that it's actually, accurate and validates them as a professional. But it's something that, it's such a gift when you can, surprise somebody with an unsolicited LinkedIn recommendation. So recognize somebody, whether it's in person, verbally, you can make someone's day by doing that so easily. Okay, let's move on to your home. How do you feel in your home? So I want you to jot down something that you could do in your house that would elevate your spirit, make you feel like you want to be living in your beautiful space, that you appreciate it. There's something small that you can do to improve it. It might be getting a house plant. It could be that. And that would be the one thing this month that you can do. For one of my clients, her home task or mini goal for the month was to just change some art in her bedroom. And she wanted to kind of just make her bedroom feel more pretty, more like a place she wanted to be in and that she felt relaxed in. So she didn't have to buy the art. She just changed it around in her house, and it didn't take long. And she felt really good when she did that. So go ahead and write down just one small, not even project, just small thing that you can do to make your house more inviting and feel more beautiful for you this month. Because you do spend time there and it's important. It's a reflection of you. And lastly, your community contribution. So communities take many forms. It could be your neighborhood, it could be your school, parent cohort, it could be a professional group, it could be something related to spirituality, a charitable cause that you believe in. It could be your group of friends. And I'm very fortunate to have some amazing mom friends that I made through my daughter's school when we lived in Toronto, and we still get together on the regular. And we make sure we have like a yearly getaway, even if it's just staying overnight in a hotel in Toronto. So doing that and just having that in the calendar, it feels so good. So you don't have to actually, have the whole big get together in your community if you're wanting to reach out to girlfriends, but maybe just like planting the seeds of like, let's get together for dinner in January when, the Christmas or holiday rush is gone and people just need a little pick me up, right? So something in your community, maybe it's on your street, maybe it's within the school community that you can do this month. I'm sure the fall fair is coming up and you can volunteer a Saturday afternoon at that. And that's your community contribution, because really when it comes down to it, all that matters is who we help. And people feel a lot of fulfillment from giving that help and then opening up to receiving it as well. So when you set out to intentionally, recognize or help someone in your network, in your life, in your family, when you've done something that you've committed to for your home, your career, your well-being, and then you actually did it, there's that commitment value, right? It just sets in motion so much more traction for you to be productive in the way that feels good to you and to achieve the things that you want to achieve. And it comes a lot faster. All right, let's get into the time blocking stuff. I just want to check the time. We want to really dance between planning for the future and staying mindful in the present, right? So when you're time blocking, I don't want you to fill up your calendar with every minute being taken up by some kind of, themed activity. I want you to leave some white space for something spontaneous to flow into that time. So you can be more mindful in the moment, and we're not always just thinking forward, or thinking back. What's really important is right now. And right now, I am very grateful that you're spending this time with me. You do control your thoughts, and you can control how you think about time. If you think about time in scarcity mode, that is your reality. If you think about time in abundance mode, that is your reality. So, if you ever had that time experience, for me on vacation, I really go into that thinking like time just spreads out, because if I keep thinking, oh, the vacation's going so quickly, I start to feel anxious and not relaxed. So really reframing how you think about time. We all have the same 24 hours in the day, but you can think about how long that feels for you, okay? Deliberately choosing how to spend your time, and that's what the time blocking is about. This is about not living life on default. It's about being the kind of person who intentionally sets out how they want to live their life and not living life where things just happen to you. I personally feel like life is way more fulfilling when I choose how I want to live, when I know my purpose and values, and then I align my actions to those values and purpose. And I feel like I'm truly living intentionally, like I'm living to my highest potential, and that keeps expanding for me. So no matter what circumstances arise, I know I can respond in a way that I'm proud of, because I am living with my purpose and from my purpose. So as I mentioned, my values about connecting people, contributing to my community, commitment. My purpose is to connect people and actively contribute to my communities and support the circulation of well-being in others. So everything I do is trying to tie to that. You know, and the coaching work I do, the volunteer work I do with my daughter's activities, how I am with my family, my small family, my extended family. I really am trying to live from that. And it's not always easy, and sometimes I lose my way, but if I can come back and anchor to that, then I definitely feel like I have an abundance of time and time freedom. So let's give you some tactics now, not to try to control things, but to help you do away with worry and to be prepared for what you want to do, and to create more mental clarity and more space, and to open up some more time and even thinking time about what else can happen in your daily reality. And then you can respond to those unforeseen situations that do arise because you have some flexibility within your plan. You can be proactive instead of reactive, and you can respond instead of reacting. So truly, I know that planning gives us the resources to make the most of our opportunities. All right, so let me take a sip of water and we're going to jump into time blocking. So if you're not familiar with this, it's about putting time as kind of zones into your calendar. And this helped me so much because previous to me doing time blocking, I would be like, I would just let things happen and fill into my calendar. I would, okay, when can you meet for this coaching conversation? Okay. Oh, you can only meet at that time. Okay. I'll open up that Monday for you. Even though my day would end up being like, write someone's resume for an hour, then do the coaching consult, then try to go back to writing the resume, have to rethink about what I was actually doing, get back into the zone. It's like moving from one task to the next and having all these distractions is not effective. So what I mean by time blocking is actually giving yourself a space of time where you're focused on the one thing and you don't let any other distractions come in. So you're really just laser focused on that thing because you know how it lines up and how it aligns with your joy and purpose and value, so you can be pursuing happiness, not just success. And success just catches up, right? So I was able to block my calendar for certain themes that are important to me. Like I wanted to do a podcast. So I have the Career Fit Mom podcast, but I was never getting to it. So I actually had to block like 2 hours and give myself more time than I probably needed to just do that every week and consistently do that. Otherwise, I don't do it. And then I feel bad about it and I enjoy it. Why am I not doing it? I have all these, the cycle of, the vicious cycle of negative thoughts. I had to create certain times for doing writing, whether it's personal brand writing for clients, whether it's marketing content for my blog, my website, whatever. I need to have the personal brand writing and the marketing writing blocked. Coaching time. So if you're my coaching client, we just go back to back to back to back with all these other calls. So I do have to stay on time and be, trying to be very respectful of your time and my time. And then I just have them all blocked. So I just go from one to the other because then I'm in the zone. I'm like coaching and I'm doing it and it feels really good. Same thing with consults. So in order to introduce myself to new clients, I do a lot of free consultations. So I just block those. There's only certain days that you can block. You can book a coaching call with me or a consultation with me. So I've gotten my calendar, and if it's not a great time for you, of course I have some flexibility, but it's for the most part, once I've told people that these are the times that they can book, they respect that and they just book those times. So I'm able to save the other times for other things that are important to me, like still the household management, the stuff with my family, the appointments that we have to make. There is just this sense of ease when you know what you're supposed to be doing at any given time. Otherwise, it's just like flustering around with the to-do list. Okay, so let's get into step 1 of time blocking. So, and I think you're probably going to have to go back to this, and I am going to send you my time blocking worksheet. So that's going to help you, it's going to ask some key questions to help you really dive into this so you can create this for yourself. It's hard to create this in like 10 minutes. You need to really probably spend 30 to 60 minutes identifying what your themes are that you need to block and then laying them out in your calendar. And it's a ongoing process. So it's not like you can lock it in once and then it's always going to be that way. As your life changes, as your kids get older, as your work situation changes, you will have to do the time blocking a little bit. But once you get it done the first time, it's much easier. So write down the main themes of what you do each week. These are the themes that I have and some of the members of my Career Fit Life coaching program from the last intake that they had, like obviously family, health, the household, work. This takes up a lot of our time, Monday through Friday usually. For me, it was client-facing time, professional development. I have to do marketing and sales in order to introduce myself to new potential clients. You know, my time with friends. One of my clients was into crafting, and she was never getting to the quilting stuff that she wanted to do. And, you know, some of my other clients have creative endeavors that they've kind of just put on the back burner, and they haven't had the time to devote to those, but they are a wonderful way to just reflect and de-stress. So if something creative is important to you, like even if it's just 30 minutes a week, but you still have some time devoted to that you've identified. Reading, meditation, journaling. So hopefully you've gotten some ideas and you've written down some of the themes of what you do week to week. Step 2 is then to assign a value to each theme. So what do you actually get out of that time? Okay, so time, you know, like I've heard this, this idea that time really is the only limited resource. Like money is, there's always more money. You can always get more money. You can always get a second job. You can always, like, don't do that, but you can always get more money. You can always find a way for financial things to come in, but most of us focus on like scarcity around money. But time is sort of a limited resource, right? So we want to be using our time there, that 24 hours in the day, to get the best value out of that time. So clearly, if it's your, you know, your client, or sorry, your career, your work, there's a financial value to doing that day in and day out. So your salary is how you pay for your lifestyle and your family's well-being. So there's a lot of value in that, but there's probably more than just the financial outcome of that time that you spend at work. So really thinking and jotting this down. Again, it's hard to do this in just a few minutes. I want you to kind of just sort of percolate on these ideas and come back to this. But if there's time with your family that you're devoting to the time blocking, that's, you know, what's the value to that? Well, obviously you're raising strong, healthy kids. You've got a strong partnership. You know, you're nurturing and caring and loving for your family the best way that you possibly can. If for me, my fitness is really about wanting to live a long life, a life of, you know, physical ease and no pain, mobility, so I can do the things I want to do into a very old age and be physically and mentally fit to do that. And so that's why I engage in physical activity. It does bring me a lot of joy. And I can see the long-term benefits of being physically active. Professional development, what's the value you get through professional development? Well, you're engaging in learning and expansion. For me, it means I can be better to serve the people I want to serve, like you. For you, it might mean that getting that certification gets you the raise or gets you the better job, or again, helps you just perform better at work. And so, you know, really looking at each of those themes, your household time, you get to live in a home that is beautiful and well cared for. And you feel less stress being there, you feel joy being there. Okay, and then your step 3 is to prioritize. So how much time should you give each theme per week? And this is the tricky part, you know, looking at really prioritizing those highest value activities. Probably your financial value is going to take up a big chunk of the time week to week, how you're actually earning money for your financial stability and well-being. But then, you know, the household stuff. So is that something that you can delegate to another family member or somebody else to help? Or could you just leave your floor sticky for another week? So something that we move to, unless we're having guests, we just stopped cleaning our house, like, you know, deep cleaning our house. we used to have a housekeeper. I used to get help and pay for that. And I'm very fortunate and privileged, I know, to be able to do that. And that's not everybody's situation. But now we get our kids and we actually do something called team clean. We do it every second week where we do the clean, just put a timer on for 2 hours and then we go out for lunch after as a little reward. And whatever we can do in those 2 hours we do, but I don't do everything like I used to want to, because the household management is not as huge of a priority for me anymore, because I'd rather be hiking with my family than cleaning up the sticky floors. So really just taking a look at how much time you're going to give to each of these themes, making sure you give yourself some white space for open and free time, and making sure that you don't have more hours devoted to different themes than you actually have hours in the week. Okay. So step 4, we're going to block out those themes, a chunk of hours in your calendar where you're engaged in that theme activity. So for example, I had Natalie, my client, yoga was super important to her. She was not getting to it, and it was important to her. And she hated that she would just put her son down to bed and go binge watch Netflix every night, and then really want to do the yoga, but not do it, right? It's just the habitual things that we get into, these behaviors. You're exhausted, of course. Netflix is fun and easy. So she identified a time that would work for her for yoga, and she had to be the person who does yoga as soon as she puts her 18-month-old son to bed. And so that was the best time for her. So then we talked through, like, what do you actually have to do to get to that point? Well, you get home from work, from commuting from work, and you take off your work clothes and you put on the yoga clothes, and you have your laptop in the space that you're going to do yoga. For her, it was her playroom, her child's playroom, and have her mat and all the other tools she needed. And then she even put a mat in her son's bedroom because he was 18 months and hard to settle. She could do some yoga poses while he was settling down, like obviously very quiet, until he kind of fell asleep. And then she felt like she could sneak off and do the video online that she wanted to do. So she's also doing things like trying not to schedule meetings in the morning, because at work, she does her best work in the morning. So knowing if you're, most productive in the morning or in the evening, like when you're thinking the clearest, is really important here, so that you can block out the time for the activities that best suit that time. I had a client that wanted to incorporate a morning routine into her day because she knew it made her feel great and set her up for success. But she was the kind of person that would sleep with her phone in her bedroom. She would be scrolling social media before she fell asleep, and then she'd do the exact same thing when she got up. And one of the key things that I learned to do, and now I share with clients and I'll share with you, is don't let somebody else's content or stuff get into your headspace first thing in the morning. Devote whatever time, even if it's 5-10 minutes, to just doing something that brings you joy, something that lights you up before you check email, before you check your text messages, before you go on Facebook or Instagram. Like, just don't even look at the news. Don't even look at the weather. That can wait. Let that time, whatever time you can give to yourself, be just for you, and you'll just watch your spirit soar for the rest of the day, I promise. So that my client who was trying to get the morning routine going, she identified that she could do 60 minutes. It meant that she had to get up earlier. It meant that the phone is in a different room than the bedroom. It meant that she could not touch it. And these things are meant to be addictive, right? So it's something that, you really have to just be very mindful of, to incorporate these new habits. And she really is thriving now that she has this morning routine. She does a little bit of physical exercise. She had to tell her kids, who were about 11, 12, that they had to kind of, if they got up, they couldn't bother her unless it was an emergency, so that they could, start their own breakfast. She gave them the tools that they needed to do that. And that really is working for her. So she does a little bit of reflection and journaling, physical activity. And then while she's doing her hair and makeup and putting on her clothes, she's listening to an audio book or some kind of podcast that's kind of inspirational or educational for her. So another idea that a client had was to actually downgrade responsiveness to text messages to a low leverage activity. So we all get so many messages from different sources, different channels of communication these days, and it's impossible for everybody to manage them all. So actually just deciding that one of them or multiple are going to be low leverage, and you're just not going to care about those responses, it really helped my client a lot. And so she just said to her closest friends and family, like, if you need me for an emergency, call me. Remember that? Remember when we used to call people before we had all these online tools? And so she told them that they could expect a response from text messages within 2 to 3 days. And that like blew my mind, because I like to be responsive too, but actually incorporating that, like, yeah, it creates this sense of urgency, but it's somebody else's urgency, right? So if you blocked some time for something that's really important to you, that aligns with the things that bring you joy, and the text message comes in, like, you got to turn off those notifications and get rid of them, and then chunk out the time. It might even just be 10 minutes on your commute where you're responding to those text messages. So I hope those ideas give you some help with just kind of identifying that time blocking. The one thing I'm going to leave you with as well, another little quick tool, is an impact activity. So every day, if you can think about what your impact activity will be for the day, and I write it down in my journal, and even have an accountability partner who I text daily, Monday through Friday, my impact activity, and then I kind of like have that accountability, and he sends me his, I send him mine, and then it just like sets the intention. So it's the one thing that's going to move you closer to your goal. And even if it's not a goal or a project or a deliverable, I mean, that's the one thing you've identified, and you want to work on that first, before the emails, before the meetings, before everything else happens to you. Really try to laser focus on that impact activity. And it's not easy, and it's not perfect every day, but setting the intention is the first step. So you can even work towards a feeling. And I was doing that quite a bit in May and June when I was feeling very stressed about a number of things that were happening in my life. I wanted to feel calm and grounded. So my impact activity for many of those days was meditation or walking outdoors. And that was it. It doesn't have to be a big, like, gold star achievement. It's a walk. It's a 5 minutes meditation, Spotify, yoga meditation playlist, close my eyes and breathe, right? Like, and that was something that I committed to myself, and I felt so much better having done it. And I was better for my family, and I was better for my clients, and I was better for me. Another client, she wanted to feel more organized, and she has kids who are in sports, as many of us do, and so she's constantly driving them place to place. So her impact activity one day was taking, 20 minutes to solicit carpool options for her daughter's swim team, so that other parents could they could all fill in and get organized about who's driving who when, and they all know their responsibility there. And then it just opened up so much more time for her. So really keep that impact activity in mind. It's really thinking about your ongoing cycle of higher potential, and all of these things contribute to that higher potential that you absolutely have. No matter what your goals are in life, we know about the vicious cycle, right? When something happens that's negative, and then the next negative thing happens, and then the next, and they're just like in this downward spiral. Well, I want you to use these time blocking tools, knowing your purpose, your values, the things that bring you joy, knowing your impact activity on the daily, recognizing others, contributing to yourself, committing to yourself, your communities, because that leads you on the virtuous cycle, right? That you're taking one step of something that was good, and it leads to the next, and it leads to the next, and it's just going up, and we're spiraling up. So do you want to go downwards or upwards, my friends? I know you are on this webinar because you really want to try a different approach. Something triggered for you where you're like, I got to find some inspiration, or I got to find some tools. And I've given you a ton of resources for free today, and I absolutely loved to do it. It was my honor to facilitate this for you. I've got a few more ideas to share. But really, if you need some extra help, I am here for you. There is no time like right now to put these principles into action. And these are proven theories that work. It's exactly the kind of mindset work and strategies and tactics that I use with my coaching clients to help them in their job search, to help them feel better in their bodies. I've helped hundreds of women, and I'd love to help you too if that's resonating with you. So I do have a program that I am launching, and I'd love for you to be a part of. It's a group coaching program. It's called the Career Fit Life coaching program. And I'm going to tell you quickly about that before I finish off with a few other resources for you. What are some of the results of the last intake of participants who came through this program? I only open it up a couple times a year. In the past, I had a woman negotiate a raise, and it was actually like over 50% more than she initially asked for, and she was so fearful of asking. And I just interviewed her for my podcast, which is going to come out this week. So you can learn, if you're interested in salary negotiation at all and negotiating for a raise, check out the Career Fit Mom podcast towards the end of the week, and you can hear all about my client who achieved that. I've helped clients through this program take better care of themselves. Some of them had entrepreneurial ventures and side hustles that really took off. They definitely created deeper connections and powerful networks within our group, and then even beyond that. And many of them experienced professional opportunities and promotion and much more. This is totally my sweet spot. I absolutely love this coaching program because it brings together the things that I'm most passionate about. Remember, I talked about career development, fitness, and personal growth. So these are the things that I bring in to this 12-week accelerator program that incorporates everything that you are, whether you're looking for professional growth, whether you're looking for that physical fitness goal, and the mindset shifts that you really need to get there. So the Career Fit Life coaching program is going to help you feel better now and quickly achieve your goals. It is the quickest and most effective way to get out of overwhelm, reduce the overwhelm, eliminate the overwhelm, and get into goal achievement. So whether it is a career change that you are really wanting, an entrepreneurial venture you want to set up, or a healthier way of living, feeling better in your body and more confidence, if it's all of those things, I'm going to teach you the tools and the mindset shifts that will help you get there. So like I said, it's a 12-week coaching program. It walks you through 6 mindset shifts that you can apply to any situation, literally step by step. I'm going to spend a lot more time on things like time blocking so that we can really work on that together. And you're going to be growing in your own network because you're connecting with other like-minded, smart and savvy women to support and encourage you along the way. There really is, the group coaching, the one-on-one coaching is included with this, but there's more resources than you even need. I just include everything that I have, and it's there for you if it resonates, and you don't have to do it all. You don't have to do the worksheets, but showing up for your coaching calls and showing up by even just thinking about and reflecting on the concepts that we're talking about, which are indicated here on the screen right now. These are our 6 modules that we go through that truly help transform how you're feeling right now and what you're actually achieving. You also get access to my online fitness subscription, which I mentioned, that is my new baby. It's called Vitality Practice, and it gives you weight neutral, beautifully filmed with my cat guest starring in my different workouts. And they're everything from flexibility and core work to cardiovascular and muscle strengthening. So you get access to that for the length of your program, which is of great benefit as well. It's easy to fit in exercise when you can do it at home. Some of the exercise sessions are 8 minutes long, so you can do just that, or you can bundle up and do multiples, or some of them are over 40 minutes long. So you get to choose. There's a big library, and it's growing every month with new sessions, exercise sessions for you. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with the concept of your domino goal. And this is something that we'll work on in the Career Fit Life coaching program. I'll ask you, what is your 3-month domino goal? Like, what's the thing, that domino at the beginning that person just clicked over, that if you could achieve that goal, everything else would just fall away. It'd be so much easier. All those other goals will just kind of line up. If you are interested in this at all, if you want to feel more content, productive, confident, challenged, and engaged in your beautiful life, this is a great opportunity for you. The work we're doing in this program is going to help you foster a more positive and energized outlook. And if you couldn't tell from this webinar workshop, I am definitely a positive person. So I'm going to be your ultimate cheerleader and connect you to other people who can lift you up. And you're going to really up-level that network and community. So what does the Career Fit Life coaching program cost? It is $1,500 plus tax. So it is a 12-week program. There's weekly touch points as a group, and then monthly one-to-one coaching. Plus we have a longer intake strategy session. You know, individual coaching program like the one-to-one stuff is thousands of dollars more with me and other practitioners. In this one, you get to harness the power of a group. And believe me, I belong to group coaching programs, and this is why I had to start mine, because I saw my results skyrocket once I actually became involved in other groups, mastermind groups that I can truly rely upon and get support from and get new ideas from, things I never thought about. I have some great proven formulas for success, and I'd love to share them with you. And it's absolutely risk-free, because if you feel like you're not getting the value out of this program in the first 2 weeks that you're in it, I will happily refund you 100% of your purchase price, because I recognize it's an investment of money and time, and I want to make sure that it's a good fit for you. So if you want to learn more and register, you can go to careerfitmom.ca/life coaching. You can also message me, and I'm happy to discuss with you if this program is a good fit for you. I would love to help facilitate your success. And I do have a fast action bonus to thank you for staying on the call for this long. If you message me in the next 10 minutes, I put my cell number here on the screen, jot it down, message me, and I'm going to send you a code for $250 off the program. So to thank you for being part of this webinar and for being engaged with me today. And if you're interested in the Career Fit Life Coaching Program, I would love to gift you, a discount on that, but make sure you do it in the next 10 minutes and we can get that set up for you because it's about 1 o'clock right now. Okay, so things take as much time as we give them, and I recognize I'm respecting your time. I want to wrap this up. With the time blocking, put the things in the calendar. Put timers if you have to, so that you actually stop doing that thing and then move on to the next. Learn to say no to things and delegate those things that are low leverage activities. You have to attach a reason to the task that you have on your calendar, on your to-do list. Is it really supporting you holistically? Is it supporting you from a purpose and values and joyful life experience kind of way? Is it moving you closer to your goals? So once you can really identify what those are and then make sure that your tasks are lining up with those things that are important to you, that's when the magic truly happens. So I want to thank you so much for coming into the workshop today. I hope you got something out of it. I'm going to email you after the recording, as well as my little worksheet, which will give you some deeper dive into some questions to ask yourself around the time blocking. And if you have any questions at all, I'm happy to stay on just for a few more minutes to answer any questions. You can go ahead and type them into the chat, and I would be happy to answer them for you. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions, but thank you so much for being here. Again, my phone number, 416-835-9834. If you have any questions, if you want to grab that fast acting bonus. When is the program starting? Thank you, Lisa. Sorry, I did forget to say that. It's starting the week of September 30th. So basically I have to just align the time slots that are in my time blocking to deliver this coaching program. It's a 1 hour group call weekly. They are recorded so that if you can't make it live, they'll be put into our membership module that you can access after. And then the one-to-one coaching, we just book that when it's convenient for you and I. But the week of September 30th is when it's starting. So it's going to wrap up right before the winter holidays. So by December 20th, it will be done. And imagine what you'll have achieved in that time, right? So Lisa, let me know, or anybody else, if you have any questions or want to move forward on the Career Fit Life Coaching Program, because it would be my honor to facilitate your success. And with that, I will say thank you very much again for staying with me, and I hope you have a beautiful and productive day.